That was God showing me that this woman, her witchcraft is, the intention of it is to keep you like a child, and her little sister that's still in high school will essentially stay in high school until forever and ever. She will always just be beneath her. So it ended with this woman falling out of an aeroplane, however, to sit down on a chair, not to her death. For being worthless. Because the world eventually caves in on occult practitioners, especially when they're trigger happy. But this chick is the example, the exact example of what I'm talking about, by people who they come across occult magic, and everywhere they go in society, they play target practice with people. They see them as little bottles at a distance when you are out just shooting to see what your aim is, but tunya anything and everyone. And the worst among them will bewitch you with an incantation in their tongue just because you anoint them at the mall. After committing a satanic human sacrifice ritual. Not that any human sacrifice ritual is non-satanic, but after committing a human sacrifice ritual on the spot because umubori. Now, the trigger happy among you are the ones that are going to be the biggest bane of your existence in the tribulation, because already now they have no self-control. Already now they take what they want. Already now they're sleeping with your wives. Already now they're raping your girls. Already now they are, what then when the restrainer is removed? What then when the restrainer is removed? The trigger happy among you have harassed me in ways that I frankly are unconscionable. I cannot believe the level of sorrow I have endured all these years. Not every guy in the occult has had that level of crazy insatiable obsession where I'm concerned. Some of them have tried once, and when then I rejected it, they were like, I still got my game, left me abandoned and developed to rot on the side of the street. That keep on coming back like a freaking boomerang. This cherry wants nothing to do with these guys. Drawing board, trigger happy, 1, 2, 3, and the ones babbling obsessed not only slap me a korobela, when then I reject and I resist, they graduate to murder. They try to get me killed. And when then they feel emasculated by my rejection of him, they then try to kill me. Then the guy in the US is exactly like that. He pendulums. Death curse, love spell, death curse, love spell, death curse, love spell, death curse, love spell. He's in and out of curses. If any one of them works, he will get something of what he wants. If a death spell works, I guess no more love spells because she's gone. If a love spell works, oh, look at a woman literally be trapped in a room with a psychopath. That's what I'm dealing with. What are you going to do with the trigger happy zombies? Because they are the ones that nobody can stop. Today already they are a problem. They are the ones that are calling your occult organizations out. Bayan Kiba, I'm sure you like being clandestine. You pride yourselves in being kind of covert, largely invisible in society. You don't bring a message to yourselves. That's why some of y'all can succeed to sit in churches as Christians for years with people calling you Brother freaking John, for crying out loud, calling you Brother John, and not know that you're involved in satanic magic, not know that you're a Freemason. You are just serving as a deacon in the church, but you're a Freemason. You keep on doing rituals against the church. Your wife, Omunyetsika Korobel, has no clue. She thinks that she fell in love and this is the love of her life. Habon. Because there's nothing overt. You're not abusive. You're not a wife beater. You are generally what they call an easygoing guy. Because you got your occult magic in a bunch. Just like alcohol, you can hold your liquor. This alcohol, this poison that is the occult, you can hold it. You can hold it like the way that some people, when they high on Zol, blood red, and you're not going to watch them swaying left and right like a tree. No. In a conversation, high. Other people that way, also on cocaine. Others as well, with alcohol. Not stumbling, just walking straight in Jefela can just deceive you other than through a breathalyzer into thinking that Mara, there are those drunks that I get wobbly legged out just stumbling all over the show, chasing everything tula mabota because he thinks ukuthi baba bedi fell. Nza tula le mabota ntonyana ena ya go like a balance. So yes, keep to dagi, and it is the ones that keep at themselves that they high on Zol, that they high on cocaine, that they drunk on Pusa, that keeping like you guys are mehlo because they are the trigger happy Tsotsi in the movie Tsotsi. They're the trigger happy gangster in the movie Tsotsi Bayan Kepa, because their satanic rituals are so overt. They expose you. They are not discreet. They are the kinds of robbers and muggers and embezzlers and grand larcenists that go on a shopping spree the very next day after they rob a bank. Elore, 2 weeks ago, they were poor Aramis Gipsels. They were poor as a pauper, struggling to buy ikotanyan in the Gasi. Sasa umuntu thengi BMW kanjani. They were told, be discreet. Ungabonisi. Don't show it. And so bring amehlo to yourselves. Next thing, the whole syndicate is unraveled because Lenja Lena could not wait 2 months. And I am 2 months. And letting you spend that just move your turn from this school to that school. You've come into some money sense. It is the trigger happy that expose you. And it is also the trigger happy that are going to cause God to take the church because they are that abusive. And y'all's trigger happy randos are also bringing light, shedding light to your occult organizations that you imagine we can't afford to let these out or go. The trigger happy are also exposing Christians who belong to cults because of who they are affiliated with. The trigger happy cause you see cults, you all think you have a warped sense of camaraderie and a warped sense of family, right? When one of y'all falls, you have a warped sense of I'm gonna patch you back together up again. But the way that you patch them back up together again is pretty much the same way that you would patch back together Humpty Dumpty. You don't really succeed, right? You can't bring them back together again, but you try through each other. You have to call in favors for them. You have to stand in the gap for them, just like what I said with Benny Hinn and Vlad what? You know how we couldn't understand when I asked the body of Christ why Vlad out here collaborating with Benny Hinn in a video on YouTube. Well, Benny Hinn has been impetuous, just running around rampant, evidencing himself as a charlatan. And they went and grabbed somebody who's keeping himself in a bunch, not exposing that he belongs to a cult, to basically salvage him. So you call yourselves out, you bring attention to yourselves. The Lord brings attention to you, so through your loose cannons. He brings attention to you through the men that keep raping women, that won't leave them alone, that keep committing crimes, that keep on bewitching everything, using their little guns to shoot everything down. The ones that are essentially overkilling, cause all of y'all to have to make damage control, cause all of y'all to have to do damage control. Do you understand what I'm saying? And when you do damage control, that's when. But why is Sizwe affiliating Notemba? I mean, I thought Sizwe was a sober Christian, bit of a Baptist. Like, wetsang le motho o leng flagrant ka doctrine ya gagwe to the point of Kenneth Copeland. Why is he standing with this guy? Your cult will send you, do you understand, to out here fight the fires of a trigger happy occult practitioner that just keeps on shooting strays into the sky, alerting the whole neighborhood at night. And they will bring someone that's generally trustworthy in the same community to simmer the situation down so as to restore credibility to the trigger happy occult practitioner. But all that this does is humiliate the reputation of the one that is keeping a low profile, the one that doesn't beat his wife, the one that this, the one that that, the one that is an occult preacher. An occult priest. He is a God-professing shepherd of saints that however belongs to a cult. And for years, it doesn't show. For years, it does not show. And then next thing you'll be out just standing, like I said, next to Benny Hinn. That's how this gives. That's how the Lord exposes you. So what are you going to do? What are you going to do? I asked that particular question. What are you going to do in the tribulation when the restrainer has been removed and your trigger happy randos no longer are having their works stayed, minimized, liquidated, forsaken, squelched, absolved, and abdicated by praying saints and advocating Holy Spirit, advocating Jesus? When there's no longer such a thing and the trigger happy rando are constantly unleashing rounds of ammunition into babies in broad daylight, when he does that, I'm sorry, you will finally get the earth you've always deserved. The restrainer is for your benefit, for your protection. The restrainer is to make out of some of your prodigal sons come back home because you started out in the church. The restrainer is there to, before your reputation gets damaged, get out, because already you can see the trigger happy randos. Randomly, just shooting into the air. Bayan keep. So before the whole carpet gets ripped and all the insects, the cockroaches crawl all over. Boom. So you won't be associated with that infested, demon infested, cockroach infested little house. These are your lives. And herein lies Karabo, I can't really say that I was a pagan, because paganism suggests some kind of strange practices. I was just irreligious. However, with a profession of some kind of God on my tongue, largely the God of Christianity or of Catholicism. I walk into this house, and in the beginning, but somewhere along the way, I realized I've entered Hotel California. And the thing that made me realize I was in Hotel California was that sense of foreboding. As the night progresses, whatever rituals clearly, and how do I know there were rituals being done in that house? I would only get told a few years later when I gave my life to Christ. God brought it to the surface. God brought so much to the surface. Just like the other day I told you that there were these kids that kept on mysteriously dying. Opposite my aunt's house today, opposite this house, the kids, they kept on dropping like flies because of human sacrifice rituals. At the time of them dying, I didn't know it was a human sacrifice ritual. It was just really sad because there were kids my age, more or less, give or take, older and younger by 1 or 2 years. However, when I got born again finally, the Lord was like, remember that house? Yeah, opposite thing. Yes, Lord, it was a satanic ritual. Sacrifice. Yeah, I was like, yeah, but if this thing you sacrifice abantu was already bogged like that in late 80s, early 90s, if in the late 80s, early 90s, because it was thoroughly, probably maybe even late 80s, because I was that young, right? I was born in 1984. If in the late 80s, early 90s, this is anybody busy already got the human sacrifice ritual in this country. Yo, hi, how much worse then are we dealing with the situation in 2025? Of course, it's gotten worse, and this time around, abantu ababushi, gentrified, amamorusi, bayayenza. It is no longer, shack dwellers was a deep split. Ababhizi nobuthakathi anymore to a point where guamelo gubalekwe umama or clearly is a witch atshe enakasi. Now badula kulindlu tse dikima tsa dibhaza ko Bryanston hebana and badula hona ko teng ko mandlung a teng precisely because of rituals. Bathong guys, like, why do you need rituals? Le dula mo New South Africa mo lefilweng so many opportunities le khona obala le khona ya sekolong halna di barriers to entry. Bathong, apartheid has been repealed bese nje nizozi bound in chains ngemithi o khona ho bala degree e felletseng e kima e kana e leng bhaza je ka ntlo ya hao le koloi o botlo etsa a ritual for eng? I mean, you would imagine that maybe you would have needed your rituals back in the days of apartheid because there it was really nzima. So Satan intuse gore ke je borotho. Now o badile mme wa gagwe o patetse di fise di kana go vits o botlo lo ya ha o qeta ha e suka man. That's why Satan will deceive. And thanks to all of these cults of yours that you keep on draining, finally you are going to say to people on earth, I don't care if you've studied, I don't care if you're smart, I don't care if you can offer this and that, I don't care if you're pioneering or innovative, I don't care. Bottom line is, you don't unleash to my Satan, to my cult, to my organization, to my ideology, to my thing that I'm doing, you are not going to eat. That is literally what this is all culminating towards. A world where your skills don't matter. A world where what you can say don't matter, your opinion does not matter, what you add warmly as a human being that participates in your economy, your ecosystem, and your community, that which is all that which makes us people and all that which makes this earth pleasant to live on, all of it is gone now. It's being drained as with a straw out of a glass. It is being sapped. Virtue is being eliminated in exchange for allegiance to something. And if people do not want to allege to it, you are literally saying, I don't care that you can sing, dance, paint, draw, innovate, build, your skills schmills. Skills schmills. You will be given everything you want. You will be given a world where your baddest talent in the game is nothing to you because it loves Jesus or does not love you. Impilo zenu lezo, right? Anyway, whatever. Here is the crank in this house of horrors, and that sense of foreboding overwhelms me. I'm dealing with young men that are doing well as a concert, not just one of them that cracked it with a business deal that out here set him up for life from a very early age. All these men were little mini Mark Zuckerbergs. Imagine having our Mark Zuckerberg, Abai 5 in Iskim SE1. It's just unreasonable. Even today, Mark Zuckerberg's friends, they're old, right? It's like, when I say friends, I'm saying friends, industry friends. Like, you know how Mark Zuckerberg did really well when Mark Zuckerberg is my age, 1984, when he was still, I think, of varsity, 21, 22, just very young, and he cracked into this thing. Yeah, if at all he had friends in the industry, it was older guys. It was about Elon Musk, like people that broke into all this prosperity and have been in the game for a minute. About Bill Gates, much older than Mark Zuckerberg. But his boys on the periphery, on the left and on the right, they were still out just trying to get their degrees. They were still out just trying to get their first apartments. They were still out just trying to get their first cars. They were still out just trying to get married to their wives and live in their quaint little house with their 2.5 kids and their pet, while Mark was out here high rolling. These guys, all of them, that's when you know that umuntu belongs to a cult. When impinches zako that are all your age, everyone is 23 and yet everyone is driving a 4x4. Wonke umuntu. Everybody is in varsity first year, and yet everybody has a car and an apartment. These people set kids up with big cars, big houses, as and then they make them hang out together after buying expensive drinks and clubs at the age of 21. Scheme Kaufela able to afford themselves. Scheme said Chirisako University day 7. Kaufela they're wearing Gucci, and none of them have put Matlesa. What's going on? Can't understand where's alang mona. And like I said, nothing can account for why Sonke scheme is successful. Ganje na. They meet in cults. They introduce each other. They have recruitment drives where they are getting 19-year-olds fresh out of getting fresh into varsity, fresh out of high school. They have recruitment drives and getting people under 25, 18 to 25s. And when then they meet in these funny little weird ominous ritual rooms of theirs, it's like initiation or induction at first year. It's like orientation at varsity. It's like orientation at university. Yeah, first year. Go fell 18, 19, maybe 20, maybe 17, maybe 16. You are all really young and all bright-eyed, all bushy-tailed, and you are all being shown the school. This is the matrix. Go get food over there. The bookshop is upstairs. That's the Wharton Wheeler Library. Those are the library lawns. That is the haunted, ghostly library over there. That is the Great Hall. That is. And then you go through Skolo Kaufela on orientation week. A tourist attraction that is going to, for the next couple of years, be the place where you are studying. When they get recruited into these occult organizations, they get grabbed from walks of life, different ones. They never would have met if it was not for this cult. And then they say, this is Boss Madlisa 1. This is Boss Madlisa 7. This is Sister Boss Madlisa Res 8. This is this is that. Show you people that have been in the game for a minute. And then you look at each other on the left and on the right. All of y'all are bright-eyed. All of y'all are bushy-tailed. None of y'all need retinol. None of y'all are breaking out into fine lines. None of y'all got wrinkles. None of y'all got anything but maybe the occasional pimple. Because you're still out here getting acne because you're that young. I mean, people of the same age group are drawn to each other. More so if they are of the same persuasion. So this is something that you all huddle with one another pertaining, isn't it? You huddle with one another pertaining it, and you become blood brothers or blood sisters for life. Like in that movie Dead Poets Society, right? You do pacts from an early age at university. Like you think about Yale, Skull and Bones, how some of those guys that knew each other from all the way back then, that are like blood brothers, became presidents of the United States. Already they were set up for that from varsity. Mara, you will know who belongs to a cult, a secret society, an organization of this nature, because they're going to be inordinately successful for their age. Yes, every so often you will have inordinate success for your age because you're Mark Zuckerberg. But for the larger majority, you are going to be regular because most people fall within the normal distribution. Now, when an entire group of 7 friends are Mark Zuckerberg, guys, something is obviously wrong. Do you understand? It's no longer outliers. We are no longer speaking far extremes of normal distributions here of the curve, the bell curve. They're no longer on the far extreme being the only lone ranger out of being a millionaire at 22. Now it's 5 millionaires. What the heck? It don't make no sense. And that's what was going on with these guys. That's what was happening with these guys. Like they had some like exorbitant wealth that would look like the kind of wealth that you would have amassed for yourself by the time you get to your 40s. But they were all in their, like I said, 30s, right? All of them living in these chunky boss mansions. We were in one particular boss mansion at this party, and we were catered to every last one of our needs. Nobody had to buy booze. And manje, you know, when you're on the come up out, you're partying all over the show, when people are like for free, you're like, you swing on a rope like Tarzan, right? Watch out for that guy, free booze. That's you. So we were swinging on a rope with free peanuts, free booze, free meat, chicken, lettuce, whatever you can feed us at this braai. Thank you for feeding us. But we are actually thinking, whoa, what accomplished men. And you know, young women that are yet to be married. All you can hear in Jafela, where you get pop up, going to the chapel and we're going to get married. Going to the chapel and we're going to get married. When you see men that are doing that well, that are that successful, that are that accomplished, that young, with no baggage, no children, no ex-wives, no nothing, you be out there literally in your head hearing, going to the chapel and we're going to get married. You're hoping that one of them is out there gonna like you enough to take you on a date, like you enough to take you to his mama, like you enough to get on his knee, like you enough to walk you down the aisle. Until one of my girls was like, plenty of room in the Hotel California, ooh la 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 la, any time of the year. You can not date any of these guys you like. Cause if you do, honey, you'll never leave. It's gotta go on until my girl be out here warning her sister, and I was like, zip, 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 ta-na-na-na. And I got out of there with a trepidation in my skin, a jolt in my bones, a jump in my step like I'm the Joker out of a box. I was like, I'm Builan. Never. Kopanos gang shella, cause I can shelly. Kopanje, utswemonna. lantse o le mo pila o le mohoto o nkga monate ke kopa nje o tswe ko nna ka hempe ya gago e crisp nka re mazimba a lace a di simba chippies ka phumeke ngehembe elakho eli aynwe clearly in some satanic mansion, in some satanic laundromat. Phumeke. I'm in this gangster joint, go Hotel California. I'm talking with everybody in a daze. We all just are just smiling. I don't think at that stage I was boozing it up, but my girls were boozing. Ke hareja chicken ya teng, ke hareja di lettuce little tiny tomatoes, tsa di cherry tomatoes, and ke hare ntse re nata mazimba at the bar le di peanuts. Yeah, that we kept. Hey, man, I can't book a guy because I was busy talking ke bua mona. My girls and I ke hareja ma peanuts, reja mazimba, hole monat. Out here picking out of a little bowl ya di peanut ya mantoko man sis double dipping ntse re tshwara di mefufutso ya batho re kenya mo molomong. Wait, see, when you're in the party scene or anything, when you're smoking cigarettes, you be out there dragging on people's bilharzia ish. Anyway, whatever. Life ya party kishap kayona, it's unhygienic. I'm just saying, whatever. Remo he ne rentse reja dijo ko Hotel California lantse khona le a sense of foreboding. So humanity, keep ignoring your consciences as much as possible. Never mind your consciences. More than anything, it's not about your conscience at this point, because it's not like anything nasty is happening, but your gut feeling, that sense of foreboding that you get, the smell of sulfur, like I said, freezing environments, chills down your spine, weirdo little stuff. Ignoring it, like that chick in that music video, yeah, Mr. Salwin. Sorta like wang ignora, sorta like nia bora, sorta like she's top shayela, unyenza like angwazu shela. Yeah, keep on ignoring your conscience like that chick that Mr. Salwan be out trying to mac on. Sorta like nga ignora the foreboding, sorta like iya bora, sorta like it's top shayela, wanyenza like angwazu bona, uguti gugu ya boga. Little lemala. I'm just saying. So, Jaka Hakeleda, Karabo here is also ignoring her sense of foreboding. Except her homonati, there's something odd, right, going on. The shorty mbodlela guy, I can say begin kabanda baba khuzwane le cranky, like I proper can't tell you, okay? This guy, there were so many tall lanky chicks that clearly were taken off the ramp, right? That house was just full of company, and that when you're young and on the come up, you feel like this is my kind of vibe. It was full of models, very well-dressed people, designer. It's giving the kind of stuff that when they send you to a Hollywood party, you be seeing strange things like this. Very beautiful people, but with a weird countenance. Beautiful people that you feel, I want to be part of this. But like Pina Yona Elia Ed Sheeran, I don't know anybody what feels like, but I'm in this party over here. Me and my baby, yeah. I don't mind when I'm with my baby, yeah. Even when it doesn't care. Madena, you know, I'm at this party and I don't know what it's like. And everybody, Madena, dinner. And yeah, when you go to a party of elaborate folk, like in that party you went there and there was some elaborate folk over there until you felt like Ed Sheeran with your baby, yeah. You felt like Ed Sheeran, as long as I'm with my baby, yeah. I don't mind, I don't care what these people say. I'm at this party and I don't want to, you know that song of Ed Sheeran where he's awkward at a party when you're not used to these, like me eba to patiele body cult. I'm just saying. And like I said, there were models, quite a few of them. Anyway, whatever. But I'm thinking this is my kind of scene because like batho ba vele ko di partying tse tletseng ka di model le batho ba pareng designer le batho ba important bana ba young mara ba etsang well. He batho ho gala le man kots ke yona mo fitileng gafar. Danger. Thriller. Michael Jackson, always out your spooky despite indaba yoguti you busted him last week. Go partying in Ed Sheeran. This guy wa shot imbodlela. I get notice the models, so clearly onatwa so jwala the models. And that's just the thing, women ukuthanda imali nizo le mali. The Bible says the love of money is the root of all kinds of evil. Many who have wandered after it have pierced themselves with many pains. Basadi sometimes rough. They will just dive into a situation because I don't know how many times I can say this. These people get recruited into occults, especially these men, and then they get told, oh, this is how my brother, you're gonna maintain your wealth. You're gonna have to keep on taking it from people. So if you can sleep with women, you will take their wombs, the wombs of which represent all their children, and the wealth of those offspring will accrue to you. That woman will be left infertile. So if you can succeed with a one-night stand, if you can make yourself a but madlisa and get a one-night stand, more so even if it is willing to go raw with you, no protection. That's why labo but madlisa are willing to keep a imali zingaga for people they don't know. They're willing to go and spend wads of cash on women that they just met in the club. Women of which will then go crazy, lose their minds. Upon seeing Iskoto Singaga say 10K, you go and you sleep with a guy. You concede to not using a condom, or you use one. It doesn't matter. Because sometimes even with a condom, this stuff still works. And then you get out of there. And only 7 years later, when now you're married with your husband, you can't conceive. 7 years later, you are now married with your husband. You are trying for your first child. And you realize that you can't have a baby. But why am I infertile? Fertility treatments also injectwa, ohlabiwa, opokwa, oproda away at. Kanti motho o gongetse mpa. Or bana ba hao, ba boka moso. Kaofela bona. Bana ba teng ba fepa buhumi ba monna ontso robala le. So I remember watching this one documentary. I think it was either Cutting Edge. Yeah, it was not Special Assignment because that's like Ntozagale, right? Cutting Edge, a documentary of some slay queen chick that she was even in her 30s. So girl, like, your time is running out. Stop, get a career, because it's not sustainable. But she had been one pretty much since she was in her 20s, and she had this elaborate apartment and she was living there very comfortably. And they interviewed her on some of these guys that you are a slay queen, and you are always entering into contracts with these men telling them, if you can't take care of me, if you can't fix my this, fix my that, pay my rent, pay my way, what's the point? Type establishment thing. Aren't you scared that one day you're gonna get her something bad? Because apparently the lady cutting edge that was interviewing her was like, because I'm sure there are rumors they are involved in rituals, and that's why they've got all this money. So aren't you scared that they might do something on you? And she's like, I know myself. I've got my own protections. I'm very careful. So no, honey. Shame. Pina is sharing all up in this girl. You're better off being there with your baby, yeah, and not associating with some crazy people at some crazy party. Because while you might be getting your apartment, your whatnot, or rather, I get it, you're still single with one child. She was a single mom. You're single, hoping one of these budmadlisas littered across the streets on the left and on the right. Look at you, you're in your 30s now. Yeah, you're waiting for a husband. I get hope or one of them Utla fitla ko 40 o so bile monna. Utla fitla ko 45 o so bile monna. And you will have just that one child. And no matter how hard you try to conceive, you will not be able to have another child. Seeing as one prior to you becoming a crazy slay queen. And it was precisely because of you having a son that then, doing anything by any means necessary to take care of your baby, you then kept on sleeping with crazy guys. And so therefore therein lies your child being used as a, what do they call this, not a monitor, but your child is being used as the word that I'm looking for is not monitor, man, getting a handler. They use your kid as a handler. They use in Dabayoguti, you can't leave your child out on a limb, you can't leave your child without stuff, without what they need, without education, without, and so they keep you in a loop of being stolen from. So you will keep your juice, your virtue, in order for them to be maintained in wealth. About how it is that Diana was strong, and spiritually utile. I'm like, I don't know dealing with spiritually other than Zalwan. Unless you're a child of the living God, everybody is an open grave for the devil to king. What do you call this? Bury the coffins of occult practitioners. Uvelende agibele ingati a jockey on a horse on anyone that's not in Christ. Litla balam and be ridden, galloped on all night. Kibatu in the occult. Empty, flat, and then you will get married at 32 finally. Praise God, my husband came at last. And this man will be frustrated by the fact that you can't give him children. That's what occult practitioners do. And the strange thing is some of them are able to, they go and they grab their own wives and they have kids there. Mara asike honka dimpa tsa basadi ba bang mo strateng. And that's also another thing, because they're occult practitioners and this is how they make money, they can't not cheat on their wives. Because they have to keep on getting wealth. They have to keep on, to them, these rituals are like a day job. If you quit your job, who's gonna pay your rent, dog? If you quit your job, who's gonna pay for your car installment, dog? If you quit your job, who's gonna buy your groceries? Somebody gotta eat. Responsible. You can't quit your job, because if you quit your job, you don't get to eat. So they can't stop doing rituals. If they stop doing rituals, they don't get the wealth that they have. They can't maintain their lifestyles. They can't pay for their cars. They can't pay for their houses. They can't pay for their wives' lives. They can't pay. And so basadi ba banyalang these hard knock ritualists, because lerata chelete basadi, the love of money is the root of all kinds of evil. Aselona ligcina lilang hore banna ba lefile ngolaza inside a marriage. They can't stop doing satanic rituals, and apparently when the sex is raw, more so is it in it for them lucratively. They also have sexual rituals with other men. So you end up like Janet Jackson in the movie Why Did I Get Married? Here it is that your gay husband is out giving you HIV. Mara, he couldn't stop doing those rituals, because I mean really, if people are going to keep on eating, people are going to have to keep on pitching to the office, and their office is a satanic ritual in a hotel where the guy is out here twalaring, and he keeps on flashing ikoto ezingaga zemali. He flashes ikoto ezingaga zemali to slay queens and clubs. That's why uwathola but madlisa bemikhaba and clubs. Umuntu umdala ukundlulukara kodwa busy uhlele clubini. Do you understand what I'm saying? Yeah. That keep on, showing men how about why khudisa stina sateng. Yeah, these chicks, to them it's like, look, I'm not gonna marry this but madlisa. He's just gonna fund my way through university. I'm gonna get all the booze and the money that I want. Mara, by the time she's got a career and by the time she's doing whatever, she's got all these chock-a-blocks in her life and she doesn't understand what in the world is going on. By then she's already spent and can't, however, because of that random situation. So bafazindini anytime amadoda abanemali mina yazibuza ukuthi at what cost? At what cost? The love of money is the root of all kinds of evil. Many who have wandered after it have pierced themselves with many pains. At what cost are you married to your millionaire or your billionaire husband? Because indoda yakhe, if he doesn't go to the office, I told him mali kodwa umsebenzi wakhe awufani nemisebenzi wethu so the tender zakhe, the business deals zakhe, the contracts that he keeps winning are inside the nether regions of women, strange women you don't know. They're gonna bring you home an STD. At what cost? At what cost? Uzochata nje uput madlisa otsiriane. Take your shopping sprees, sako Gucci, let them comfort you, seeing as you don't want Jesus. Halebatle Jesu. Go and grab your Christian Louis Vuittons ezingaga right next to your ARVs. So here it is that Cran K was in one such house. Clearly they got them young. They got them late 20s, maybe mid 20s. And they're all friends because they belong to the same cult. They might not have met if they never joined the cult, but having been brought together by the cult, they were all equally successful and on the come up, still ramping up swiftly up the ladder. And in this house there were models, a whole bunch of them. And this guy who owned this house was this tiny little man, all right, bit of a Hugh Hefner, like he was giving Hugh Hefner, whatever. It was this tiny little okie that was nalimunyani fella. He was just too short for me, okay, but he wasn't young, just little, all right. Yeah, he wasn't too young for me, just too little. He was short, like very tiny. And he developed an interest in me. Out of all my girls, out of all the women that were there, he was all up and talking to me. And I didn't like this guy. Just physically, I wasn't attracted to him. He was too short. Mara, you could tell that this guy unabatla ho negotiate telling me I will give you your wildest dreams. Unabatla ho nkhona to explain to me what he can do for me. Because after all, he basically was trying to gesture to me to say, I'm the one that's actually giving you free booze and free food and free peanuts that you are double dipping your fingers into the bowl of. I am the master of this all. These here are my boys, but they've come to my property, my house, to enjoy this party. Ereke, let me have your back. I did not say no to him because I just brushed him off and kept on talking to everybody else. This guy, and it was at him trying to talk to me with a very serious face while music was just going that then increased the sense of foreboding even more, right? My friends were in circle, everybody was around. This guy na batla hong corner and again, right? Finally, one of my girls comes in the house, comes where I'm at, takes my hand, and is like, at that stage, I'm already, I'm scared, even though this environment has got that sense of foreboding in it, right? And I go with her, right? And then she's like, yeah, but she's like, we talk, and she's like, and she's pacing outside. And I'm like, let's say her name was Rumbobo. Hey, none of these names, Rumbobo. I don't even remember. Let's keep it, okay? Rumbobo. I'm like, Rumbobo, what's wrong? Rumbobo. Hey, yo, hey, what's going on? Rumbobo. I'm thinking Rumbobo. I can't remember Rumbobo. Rumbobo is the one that invited us. I can't remember go freaking drive somewhere. And I'm like, what's wrong? What's going on? Rumbobo, what's going on? Rumbobo, what's going on? Rumbobo is pacing on side, and then she kept saying one thing in a loop. Rumbobo said, do not trust these guys. Do not trust these guys. She sobered me. Because listen, when I went in there was that sense of foreboding, landing in it like a frog, splashing me. I sink into it and I start to swim. So essentially I start to feel comfortable, even though there's nothing comfortable about this. The guy wang shela, it's uncomfortable, it's, you're used to it as a girl, right? And then Rumobo pulls me to the side and she's like pacing the floor. Outside, however, right? And she's out here, and then she starts to say, and then at the where Rumbobo, she was drunk. She starts to say, do not trust these guys. As soon as she said that, I didn't argue with her. What sense of foreboding I had when I walked into that room. It's like it was connected together, linked as with a chain to what she was saying. It's like I was happy to play dead to what I was picking up in the air until someone says, you know there is something in the air. Hearken to it. Essentially, she was the night man. Relax, said the night man. Listen, that guy I wasn't attracted to him, and in Nangbora because he was following me around. I wanted one of his friends that was what I imagined to be my size. So when he was all up in my grill, he was basically functioning as a blocker for his boy. And in toning Bora, really and truly, I wasn't gonna miss that guy if he didn't shella. It's just that it was gonna be an opportunity to end up with one of these guys that are doing well. Okay, whatever. Okay, Rumbobo calls me outside. I wanted his friend, the other guy, and my friend was like, go fella. She was singing me Hotel California. Relax, said Rumbobo. These guys are here to deceive. If you jolla with anyone you like, honey, you'll never leave. Hotel California, get a drunk Rumbobo. Rumbobo in that state, Haritzi, because she is still alive today. Praise God. Mara Rumbi, heaven now on Rumbi went and grabbed Fila right next to Yena saying, Iteng. I guess what you guys need when you are dealing with a sense of foreboding, satanic activity, walking into an environment that is clearly evil, is for someone to say, Ajo has pumela sambe. Ajo has pumela sambe. It helps. I will tell you why. God is merciful. It helps to have somebody say as pumela sambe, or it helps for someone to tell you in advance, for you to basically admit that there's something very evil going on here. Because like I said, whenever there's been bloodshed in an environment, you will feel a sense of foreboding because the blood of those people cries out to God, and so therefore it must necessarily create that sense of foreboding. If an environment is evil, you will feel it. Mara, as human beings, we have an inclination or a tendency within us to just ignore, slide right by it, the way that guys be out just sliding into your DMs when they have no self-respect. Yeah, mara how that says the pinch in your gut, mamela. It helps. It goes such a long way. There is a young gentleman on the internet. I forgot his name, but he does story times as in Jena on YouTube. His name is Joe something. I forgot the rest of it. Y'all gonna have to go and check and search the stuff. Okay, like I listen to a lot of people on YouTube. All right, this man is a content creator on YouTube. The very thing I'm talking about. Huge and he unveiled a fact that I got in dreams. Social media is the new TV. It's doing well enough for people who do really well on YouTube to be considered celebrities, stars. In my particular country, people like Lizelle were launched by it. People like Somizi were launched, not Somizi, sorry, Lasizwe, were launched by YouTube and are now in mainstream entertainment. So gone are the days when you had to go for auditions in order to be an A-list celebrity. Now you can become an A-list celebrity insofar as you become a prolific YouTuber. Influence is important to these organizations. And when a person is starting to amass it, when a person has influence, they try to win them for themselves because they're trying to control the narrative. So there then commenced a trend by the Illuminati or whatever, the Freemasons, these crazy people that are running the world with their one eye symbolism. There became a trend that commenced somewhere in the teens. So 2013, 14, 15, 16. In the 20 teens, they commenced a trend upon observing that content media creators get so prolific that they basically give celebrities a run for their money now, that they decided to basically swallow like Pac-Man this industry and make it all part of the entertainment industry insofar as you can do really well on YouTube. So as soon as they start to observe that you're doing really well as a content creator, that's when they send you stupid letters. That's why your mama took you to school. Your mama out here pinched herself and ironed a bunch of shirts so you can get through this university. Despite all that blood, sweat, and tears so you can be given a future, you still think that you need to supplement that with the occult. These esoteric societies target people that are already doing well. Essentially, you didn't need them. You were already on the come up. You'd already all by your lonesome, successful, prosperous self amassed for yourself, girl. Oh girl, 150,000 subscribers. Nobody helped you with that. You trended your first million views. We won. Sonor like stock seal alien. Using a wobbly legged camera with grainy quality on YouTube, you started a channel and one of your videos went viral. Given that you did not need the Illuminati or whatever, and then you accept these invitations, makes out of you the fool. Because if at all your mama be out here paying for your fee so you can get through varsity, that you might get your first ever internship in corporate South Africa, and your boss likes you so much that he gives you a promotion within 7 months of working in the company, when then some other idiot of another department says sleep with me so you will get another promotion. Oh, yes, you were already doing well. You didn't need to put yourself on a bed like a Nando's chicken in order for you to get another promotion. You could have, by a clean method, continued to ramp upward. You could have kept your hands clean. You were already doing well without them. The devil is a thief that way. He steals, he kills, and he destroys, evidently. Because here it is that he's grabbing perfectly gifted people that have displayed that they can sell their product and says, oh, look at you, oh Eskimo, how about I sell you ice? Literally, people that would have done okay without social media enhancement through joining cults joined them anyway because they were promised even more. The Bible says, like death and Hades, death and Sheol, the place where people go when they die apart from Christ, the eye of man is never satisfied. Amassing for yourself great wealth on earth makes no sense. You know why? Because you're gonna die and then somebody else is gonna spend it. Your children need an inheritance. I spoke about that the other day. Once you have set apart something for your children, you can literally give away everything. Therefore, if you've got enough to eat for, never mind enough. I mean, if you're doing well as a social media content creator, you don't have enough. You've got more than enough. You can go on shopping sprees that your peers, don't go on. Like, you know, that example that I used earlier. If you blow up on TikTok, blow up on YouTube at the age of 20 and you're in university, you can pay for your friends' drinks in the club. You can take them shopping for Gucci purses. You can buy all of them iPhones. You can do things only one because you're the Mark Zuckerberg and all your girls are poor. They're still eating noodles on Resco campus while you're living in your own little Lani apartment. You're 2 bed, go 4 ways. At the age of 20, you're the only one driving all your girls Masakomba. And they are grateful of Indabuguti. You are the designated driver when everybody's going out clubbing in the scene over there, right? You literally have more than enough. The eye of man is never satisfied, like death and Sheol. Therefore, they offer you friends in your league and estimate and shortchange, minimize therefore the leech friends you have at varsity that you're always paying the drinks off. You now want to hang out with other high rollers. You want to be with other 20-year-olds that also drive 4x4s that are the size of your grandmother's Jeep. You now want to hang out with other 21-year-olds that have got their own elaborate apartments in 4 ways. You now want to hang out with other 21-year-olds that have already made their first million. And in this cult, they promise you that kind of lifestyle where you're only going to be hanging out with A-listers. Olo dampa, dichomi tsa gago tse sentseng di dutse in a leaky room. Kosani side, residence Scoville University. They recruit you and say that the life you left behind and the friends you left behind are not in your league. Let me introduce you to basically other stars that I found littered in these streets that are of the same mind as you. They clique you and they niche you and they say that when you huddle together in this class, a group, you are better than everybody else. Therein lies the eye of man never being satisfied. Do you understand? You ditch your girls, except maybe one best friend that you can't let go of cause sofa slahlane, but the rest of them you indeed consider as leeches. And you start rolling around these streets with young people, 20, 22, 23, 25, that all have got elaborate lifestyles for their age. And this here apparently is the way to be. You got noosed in. You are on the way to success all by yourself. You are gonna do well anyway in spite of whatever anybody said. You cracked into something that most 20-year-olds are out here having suffocating days trying to achieve. You are already a cut above the rest in your peer group. What more do you need? With this, I will be content. Godliness with contentment is great gain. Keep on paying for your girls' drinks in the club. If anything, leave the club and get saved. And trust that one day they will pay you in kind when they finally get their first job. Carry on and see where the wind takes you. But instead you want the high life, la my lifestyle, la my lifestyle, la my lie, because you think you dales. And with that lifestyle, look at you sign a deal with the devil, walking into listen, some strange room where the very sense of foreboding I felt in that gangster house in Morningside is present. Something is crying out from the ground because blood has been shed here. Smells like sulfur, it's cold, or there's just a sense of foreboding. All that's missing is a cello and a violin. But you shake it off, dive in like a froggy, sink, and then swim. Essentially, you accustom yourself to that atmosphere. Here it is that as this 20-year-old, like I said, they put you together with other 20-year-olds that are also doing well. Grab all different kinds of content creators that never would have met, and they put them in one room, but they send them invitations just like in the Squid Game and say, you're doing well on YouTube. We'd like to invite you to this particular thing. We've noticed your account on TikTok. We've noticed your account on this, on that. You are sitting already on 80,000 subscribers in just 2 weeks of being on YouTube. And so they see your trajectory. They see that you are growing like weeds and they start to invite you. And because the eye of man is never satisfied, you go. First and foremost, the envelope is ominous. Everything about it is ominous. And at the door, when you arrive at this venue, they already tell you from the very beginning, you can leave. Don't come in. If at all you're not 100% sure. I mean, just if anybody says that to you at the door, you should go. If anyone at the door says, are you sure you want to come in here? Because once you go in, you can't go out. You need to know that there's something that they're doing over there that's so ominous that they need to give you that caveat. So run the opposite direction. But look at you be a little kitty cat out here putting a live round on your head. Curiosity done killed a cat. And then you go in there. But you see, it helps to have had somebody in advance let you know that, listen, I went through the whole 9, the whole scope, the whole yards of this introductory meeting into a cult. And I'm not saying don't join, but it would be really great if you just tore up that invitation and put it in the bin. Tear up that invitation and burn it. Don't go. There is a young gentleman on YouTube. He could be maybe today 27, 8, 9, 30. I don't know. But he too had a prosperous YouTube channel that he built all by himself with his own bare hands, nuts, bolts, and hammers. Gah, gah, gah. He built his own thing. A storyteller of prolific proportions. Really gifted guy. Power of oratory, a soapbox orator. Excellent storyteller. Could be a total radio boombox all up in your ear all day long. With you being serenaded, swaying left to right like you're some trees in the wind. Gifted speaker. This guy had this from the get-go. At the time when he was given the strange invitation, he had moved to LA from his quaint little town in America. And the reason he moved there was because he wanted to be closer to where all the action was at. And it was precisely his move to LA even that got him targeted. They saw that he was one of those. It's only been a month and you're already sitting on 80,000 subscribers. He's one of them. He's going to end up in A-list. And if they're going to end up A-list, we need to control their narrative. We need to control what they say. We need to make sure that what they put out there is ours. We need to basically have in our hands these guys. All of them have to belong to us so we can exert influence over the earth, because we know celebrities are extremely influential. We cannot drop this particular ball because the moment we do, we lose our influence. That's why celebrities start out so clean, squeaky like Britney Spears and turn out on the other side just nasty. They change because they get inducted into occults. But when you first meet them, they've got pipes, they can sing. A lot of them are singing in churches. Whitney Houston started there. They are already doing really well. If they sang gospel music and stayed there, they'd be good. even if they didn't do gospel music but underground stuff. These days, underground, if you do anything underground and you don't go mainstream, you'll still be all right. You don't go underground, you are mainstream, you will still be all right, because you can put your, what do you call this, like covers on YouTube, the music that you do, and have a handsome enough following for, like I said, you can pay for your apartment, take care of your pet, take it to the grooming parlor every so often, go on holiday, take your friends out for dinner because you're the one that's making the money. Have a healthy enough lifestyle for you to say, with this I shall be content. Because frankly, why do you need $1 billion? When are you ever going to spend it all? When in that era, in that season, you have literally squandered yourself and your soul with riches that are amassed here on earth that will be destroyed by moth and by rust. And at the end of it all, you've lost your soul. The Bible says, what does it profit a man to gain the whole world and yet lose his soul? You would have been fine, perfectly fine, by sticking around here just violently wealthy.